Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Simtrax webinar. I'm just going to go through a few slides before I hand over to them. So please note this webinar will be recorded and all attendees will be muted throughout the webinar. To ask any questions, please use the Q&A facility, which should be at the bottom of your screen. If we can't get through all the questions that are asked today, Simtrax will take them offline, and they are going to put their contact details on the last slide of the presentation. When the webinar ends, you will be directed to complete a very short survey for us. It'll take less than a minute to complete, and your feedback will be anonymous. And if you've dialed in as a guest today, you can view more information about becoming a member and having access to more events like this at www.sapusers.org/register. If you have any questions, please contact support@sapusers.org, or you can reach out to me on the chat. I'm now going to hand over to Mahir, Janine and Florian from Simtrax. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Mihir Verma, and I work as a solutions consultant at Simtrax UK. I have more than 5 years of experience in SaaS and AI, and I've been helping enterprises in their digital transformation journeys. Joining me is Janine Stapleton, Marketing Associate and UK Office Manager.
Thanks, Mihir. Well, hello, everyone who is watching this webinar. Mihir has already introduced me, so all I want to say is that Simtrax has 8 global offices, and today we are presenting this webinar from our London office, where Mihir and I are permanently stationed, and we hope you have a wonderful webinar and find it very insightful. And I'm just going to hand over to Florian, who is in France.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Florian I live in the south of France, and I work in Simtrax office in south of France. I'm in Simtrax since 8 years, and I try to help on technical subject around SAP and other subjects.
Thank you, Florian and Janine. So we understand the challenges AP and IT departments face due to inefficient invoice processing and how big a business impact it can bring to the organization. Hence, I would like to talk about how, with the help of emerging technologies such as AI and machine learning, businesses can basically streamline their AP processes while keeping a seamless integration with their SAP S/4HANA and any other ERP versions. We'll explore this at each stage of the supplier invoice processing. So without any delay, let's get started. Before I begin, let me quickly take you through today's agenda. I'll start by outlining the problem we're addressing, followed by some of the core challenges associated with manually processing AP invoices. Next, I'll highlight the importance of automation and how it can resolve the current manual tasks in your AP departments. I'll then demonstrate the Complo Invoice platform, an intelligent tool designed to enhance your AP process, and walk you through some of its key features. We'll then delve into the technology behind CIP, especially the role of intelligent process automation, and then cover the benefits of adopting this solution and integrating with your SAP system. Janine will then take over to introduce Simtrax and also talk about some of our other offerings. Finally, we'll wrap up the session with some Q&As. So as a solution consultant, I interact with various businesses daily. And what I've observed is that manual processing of invoices still significantly consumes AP accountants' time. My research confirmed that over 56% of AP accountants spend more than 10 hours per week, with many teams dedicating over 5 days each month just to process supplier invoices and payments. I mean, it's surprising that despite the long hours spent on these physical tasks, teams still face issue with invoice matching inconsistencies, delayed supplier payments that can harm relationships with their vendors, delay the delivery of goods and services, all of which can cause stress and anxiety among team members. I firmly believe that automating certain tasks in your AP process can not only free up your team's time, but also streamline and accelerate various operations. In today's highly competitive market, companies should undoubtedly leverage emerging technologies to stay ahead of the curve. Let AI handle the mundane, repetitive tasks so that AP accountants can concentrate on more critical work that truly require their expertise, such as financial analysis, reporting, and cash flow management. I mean, these are the areas that can significantly enhance the business efficiency of any organization. So I agree that the invoicing process has its own challenges, but what I've done today is pinpoint some issues that really stand out and are common across all industries. First, let's talk about manual processing. Picture an AP accountant in a large business juggling thousands of invoices from various suppliers. When they manually enter this data into their SAP, the margin of error is quite considerable, and just one typo can sometimes result in lost invoices. And if incorrect data is entered into the SAP vendor master, it can lead to serious misunderstandings between vendors and the company, which again is often only discovered during the multi-way matching process. And that's also when the time when AP accountants have to compare the purchase order, supplier invoice, and the goods receipt note, and then they find some inaccuracies. What it means is that they must return back to SAP and repeat the same work that not only doubles the effort, but also introduces delays in the workflow, impacting their business operations. AP departments can find themselves in a tough spot when they depend on isolated systems that cannot be integrated with SAP. These standalone systems often result in data silos, disconnecting vital critical information and leading to longer invoice processing times. Consequently, the business faces higher operational costs and challenges in monitoring invoice statuses and progress. Moreover, the task of consolidating data for reporting becomes a real headache with such disparate systems. This disconnection can hinder the creation of comprehensive reports, which again is crucial for informed decision making and strategic planning. But perhaps the most important issue is compliance. Standalone systems aren't always on par with the latest regulatory standards, and this gap can increase the risk of exposing the business to potential fines and legal issues. In today's business environment with rising costs and high attrition rates, AP and IT managers are stretched thin. They're under extreme pressure to optimize their efforts with fewer staff members at hand. Ideally, we'd have these teams channeling their energy into forward-looking activities, those that drive business growth and add value. We're talking about forecasting, enhancing processes, managing risks, and building stronger supplier relationships. Yet the reality is that they're stuck with the day-to-day tasks primarily consumed by the task of resolving supplier invoices. This leaves them with little opportunity to tackle the strategic tasks that could genuinely elevate the business. Late payments are a serious concern in accounts payable, and several factors can contribute to this issue. Unclear payment terms with customers or a lack of flexible payment options can certainly lead to delays. But the most significant contributor is often inefficient invoice processing. This inefficiency can damage your company's credit rating, lead to additional fees, and even strain relationships with your vendors. Since most businesses lack the ability to get real-time updates on invoice status, they don't really know the reason behind the delay, such as why an invoice is stuck or why a payment hasn't been processed. A research conducted by IFOL revealed a very concerning statistic. Over half of the finance teams surveyed, close to 55%, would not be able to spot an invoice fraud immediately. The manual processing of tax documents presents a significant vulnerability. Misleading documents that appear legitimate can trap you into making false payments. And we've seen that in recent years, there has been a sharp increase in cases of invoice fraud, vendor fraud, and employee fraud as well. Fraudulent activity can lead to financial losses, damage the company's reputation, and also result in legal consequences. So it's a risk that finance teams need to be acutely aware of and be prepared to address. Poor visibility is a significant problem for AP managers, particularly when they rely on standalone systems that don't really integrate with SAP. Without effective reporting mechanisms and real-time dashboards, it becomes extremely difficult for businesses to maintain an overview of all the invoices and their statuses, whether they're approved, pending, or overdue. And this lack of clarity also hampers their ability to stay informed about the company's cash flow and to identify potential risks efficiently. You'd all agree that for AP managers, control is key, but keeping a track of who's handling which invoice can be challenging, especially when there are hundreds or thousands of invoices coming in from various suppliers. When processing these invoices, there are instances where a query becomes a showstopper and everyone within the team tries to pass it on to others. And eventually you need someone more senior to intervene to resolve the issue. And at this point, if there's no backup or if there's no evidence, the higher ups would never know the real issue or who has worked on that invoice. Communication adds another layer of complexity. Scenarios arise where AP team members need to speak with their uplines or sometimes even the buyer directly to verify certain information regarding an invoice or just to seek assistance. Finally, the struggle for AP leaders becomes tangible when there's an increase in invoice volume or when the business expands into new lines or geographies. In such scenarios, the need to hire, train, and retrain new staff to keep up with the manual processing of invoices can become a significant burden. This is particularly challenging in an ever-evolving business landscape where agility and efficiency are key to staying competitive. So summing up, it's clear that many of you may have faced some of the challenges I've mentioned, which at times could have disrupted your workflow. And going forward, I'll break down how we can address each of these core challenges. Janine?
Thanks, Mihir. Okay, so we're going to just run a poll now. There we go. What is the biggest accounts payable challenge you frequently encounter? Is it A, manual capture of invoice data? B, or number 2, dealing with fraudulent documents? Three-way matching errors? Communication with other departments? Or all of the above? You can only choose one option, so please cast that now. We'll just give those a few minutes to come through. Okay, let me just have a look at that. And Ellie, how are those results coming through?
So 45% say three-way matching errors, 25% manual capture of invoice data. I think three-way matching errors is winning at the minute.
Okay, so three-way matching, yep. That's not surprising. It's something that we often have questions on, and the AP community does need assistance with. So I'm sure Mihir is going to address that later on in his webinar. Thanks so much for participating in that poll, and back over to you, Mihir.
Thank you, Janine. So having discussed the challenges of the manual process, I'd like to now introduce you to the Complio Invoice platform, or CIP. CIP is a smart AI ML enabled solution that's specifically designed to enhance the productivity of your AP department. It empowers your team with greater visibility and access to vital data within your invoice processing workflow. So the Complio Invoice platform, also known as CIP, is a versatile solution that's both a SaaS and an ERP agnostic platform. This means that it can enhance the functionality of any ERP system you're using, be it SAP B1, SAP S4HANA, Oracle, or IBM, without causing any redundancy. Specifically for SAP, since we use BAPI calls for integration, it allows us to connect with different SAP versions without a lot of development efforts. So here's how it operates. Your business might receive supplier invoices via email, e-invoicing portals, or a shared common folder. CIP integrates and extracts the necessary data from these documents. And utilizing AI, it verifies the vendor details on these invoices against your SAP vendor master and alerts you if there are any discrepancies. CIP also fosters collaboration across departments, breaking down silos. It basically facilitates confirmation of details like goods receipt notes and detects anomalies in supplier invoices, all within the platform. This feature is crucial for the complex task of multi-way matching, particularly for companies handling a high volume of invoices. The data is then synchronized with your SAP system, providing real-time updates on the payment status of each invoice. And finally, CIP offers a secure space to archive your supplier documents, ensuring compliance and ease of future reference. So without further ado, let's dive into a solution demonstration of the Complio Invoice platform working in conjunction with SAP S4HANA. This will give you a first-hand look of the features I've been discussing, and show you how it all comes together in action. So I've broken down the solution demo into 3 parts for clarity. Let's start with the first part where I'll walk you through the journey of an invoice from the moment it's issued by the supplier to when it sits within the Complio Invoice platform. So right now I'm playing the role of a supplier who has created this invoice, and I've basically drafted the email that needs to be sent to the purchasing organization. I'll just quickly open the invoice and take a quick look. So I see that the document consists of 2 pages. The first page has the invoice and the second page consists of some terms and conditions. I'll go back to my email and take a final look and finally send this to the purchasing organization. Now I'm playing the role of an AP accountant in the purchasing organization. I have my credentials and I'm using Complio Invoice platform to segregate and read all the different invoices coming in from all of my suppliers. So when I click on login, I should be able to see my dashboard, which has invoices coming in from all my different suppliers. And when I go to the mail entries section, I can see the list of the different invoices sent by different suppliers of mine. On the very top, I can see the invoice that I sent as a supplier, and the status right now is needs review. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on this invoice and look through all the information that's presented to me. So on the left-hand side, I can see the email body that I wrote by myself. I can see on the right-hand side, there's the invoice and also the terms and conditions page. CIP allows you to basically choose which page you need to refer to while performing the 3-way matching process. So I know that only first page is relevant to me. So I'll choose the document type as mixed content, and I'll only choose the first page of this document for the further process. So I'll keep page 1, and you can also assign which accountant you want this invoice to handle. So I'll click Mihir Verma in this case as the accountant who will take care of this invoice. You also have the provision to forward the invoice in case it has been mistakenly sent to your department or subsidiary. You can use the forward to option to directly send this to the right department and the right team member. So since this is a demo I'm presenting right now, I'm just going to proceed by clicking apply. And when I do that, I should be able to now see the invoice in the received invoices section. So right now what's happening is that the Complio Invoice platform is extracting all the information from the invoice using Microsoft Azure AI component. And what we're going to see now is the different details that have been populated. So you would see that the status is changed from needs review to new. And when I click on this invoice, I should be able to see the invoice on the left-hand side and the details of this invoice on the right hand side. I can see the customer information, and I can, in order to see the vendor information, I'll just quickly hit the synchronize button. Since this is a demo account, I'm just going to hit this synchronize button in order to populate the information. When it's deployed on a real-time basis, the information will be populated automatically without any manual intervention. So as you can see, there is this vendor information like the name of the supplier, address, and on purpose I've made some error on the zip code so that you can understand that if in case there are any anomalies, the tool can handle that. And what we're trying to do is compare the information from your SAP vendor master, not just from the invoice. So there is transparency, and you can always know if there is any issue with the invoice. The software can also handle invoices with or without PO, or in fact invoices that have multiple purchase orders as well. So all of those scenarios are covered in the platform. And now when I go ahead, I'd like to see the parameters from the invoice that have been extracted and perform the matching process. So I can see that the purchase order number is populated. I can see the label as well. I can see that there's this purchase quantity, which is 10, but I do not see the delivered quantity and the invoiced quantity. So as next steps, what I'd like to do is I'd like to contact the buyer who has actually procured this item from the supplier and seek assistance from him, whether they have received the consignment or not. To do that, I'll go to the other requests section through which I can directly communicate with the buyer in the organization. I can select which kind of request it is. Since this is a receipt creation, I've chosen the option of receipt creation in the platform. And I've also selected the buyer from whom I need to interact with in order to get some clarity on this invoice. I have the provision of writing a small note when raising this request, so the other person knows what I'm seeking clarification on. So let me just quickly write this message. And when I click on OK, the message is now sent to the buyer. They have been intimated not just via email, but they'll also be able to see the request on their dashboard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the role of the buyer in the purchasing organization who has procured these items. And this is the mailbox of the buyer. And as you can see, they've received a new request from the AP accountant. And upon clicking this particular link, they should be redirected to the Complo Invoice platform, and they would have their own unique dashboard in which they can see all the requests that have been sent to them by different AP accountants, right? So I'm now logging in using the credentials, and when I do that, I should be able to see all the different requests, like I said. And on the very top is the request that I sent as an AP accountant. When I click on display invoice, I should be able to see the invoice again on the left hand side. And I see that there's a new active request that's pending. And the other person, the AP accountant, wants me to verify the details in the invoice. So as a buyer, I'll just take a quick look on this invoice. And since this is a demo activity that we're doing, I'm just going to give a confirmation that, yes, this invoice looks good and I've received the goods. Please go ahead and create the goods receipt note. When I click on add and complete the request, this request has been completed, and now the AP accountant should be able to see the updated details in the communication channel on their platform. So I'm now logging in as an AP accountant, and would now like to see the details of for that invoice. So there it is, on the very first line, that's my invoice. And when I click on the view tab, I will again go back to the other requests section. And when I click on the request tab, I can see that, yes, I've received a confirmation from the buyer. I'll just complete the request and proceed with the next steps. So now that you've looked at two-way invoice matching, let's move on to the next steps. We're going to see how a goods receipt note is created and how we carry out specific invoice tasks in SAP S/4HANA. You'll see all these actions are immediately reflected on the Complo Invoice platform as well on a real-time basis. So as an AP accountant, I have now logged into my SAP S/4HANA, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look for the purchase order against this supplier invoice on which I'd like to perform certain tasks. I'd basically want to create a goods receipt note. So there it is. That's my purchase order, and I'd like to just take a quick look and click on post goods receipt note. And when I do that, I should be able to see all the different details for this invoice. I can see that there's this delivered quantity. I'll quickly go ahead and select the storage location. And when I'm done doing that, I'll click on post. As soon as I hit the post button, a goods receipt note is created. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to download the copy of this GRN to be used for future references. I'm going to show that how we can use to upload it on the Complete Invoice platform as well. Now I'm going to go back on CIP and see the status of the invoice that we've been working upon. So when I open and click that invoice and go to the matching section, I should be able to see the updated details. So let me just quickly go and see the details on the invoice lines section. Okay, I can see that there's the purchase order number. I can see that there's billable quantity as 10, PO quantity as 10, and delivered quantity as well as 10. So I can confirm that the billable quantity, the PO quantity, and the delivered quantity are in sync. They're all matching. And I can confirm that we've successfully completed the three-way matching process right at this step. Now, I'd also like to show you some other functionalities of the Complete Invoice platform, the features. There's this attachments section on the tool as well, through which you can upload different documents relevant to you for future purposes. So that's the goods receipt note that I downloaded from SAP. I'm trying to upload it on the platform for future references. That's the terms and conditions page that I ignored during the process of reconciliation, which I might want to use it for the future. So all these documents are stored securely. I can also show you the event section. Whenever you're seeking assistance from your appliance regarding an invoice, it's always beneficial for them to have access to each invoice's touch points within the platform. And the detailed audit trail in the event section in CIP allows them to see who has worked on each invoice and when. And this feature ensures that you always know whom to approach in case there are any issues. So now, since we've gone through most of the features on this tab, I'm going to integrate this invoice. So when I do that, I can confirm that the matching process is complete, and the details of the same should be reflected on my SAP S/4HANA as well. So I can see that the status has changed from integrating to integrated, and I can also see that there's an internal invoice ERP number that was not there earlier, and now it's being reflected. And I can see that the integration status right now is parked. So as next steps, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this invoice on my SAP S/4HANA. So let me just quickly enter the correct prompt in my SAP ERP. And when I enter the internal invoice ERP number, I should be able to see through the details. I'm going to quickly enter the amount, which is 40,000. And once I do that, I'm going to post this invoice. I am interested in seeing if these details are now readily reflected on a real-time basis on the Complete Invoice platform as well. So I'm just going to go back to CIP and look for the invoice details. That's the invoice we've been working upon. And when I synchronize, when I hit the synchronize button, I should be able to see the status change from parked to posted. So yes, we can see that the invoice transition is happening. And as a final step, what I'd like to do is I would like to disburse the amount to my supplier, for which I'll go back to my SAP once again and pay the relevant amount to the supplier. I'll quickly select the correct supplier for which for whom I'd like to make the payment. Enter the date. Select which invoice I'm concerned with. Enter the amount. And also select the mode of payment. And once I do that, I'm going to click on the post button, and as soon as I do that, the payment would be made to the supplier of mine, the details of which I should be able to see on the Compleo invoice platform once again. So as I can see, the status right now is posted, and upon synchronization, the status has changed from posted to paid. So I can confirm that we're done with most of the tasks on this particular invoice. And when the status changed from posted to paid, I would see that invoice shifting from the received invoices section to the classified invoices tab. And when I click on that invoice, once again, as a last step, I should be able to see the clearing document number as well as the final message from my SAP. So all the details that I've showed you, the integration happens on a real-time basis. The details get reflected on a real-time basis as well. So in the final step, we'll delve into the invoice management features, focusing on filtering and archival aspects and how they serve the various teams within an organization. So let me show you how one can make use of the various filters available on the platform. And there are two ways to look at it. Firstly, the filters empower your AP team members to review their own work and identify which invoices require follow-up with suppliers or when to actually seek assistance from their appliance. Secondly, they enable the C-suite to monitor critical invoice data, providing a unified or a bird's eye view of all the available information, which can help them in making better informed decisions. So in this case, let me just play around with the filters and show you the capabilities of the filtering mechanism as well. So I'm going to select the invoice date from a certain period, let's say from June 2023 to April 2024. And I'm interested in seeing how many such invoices are there right now on my portal. So I can see that there are around 84 such invoices. As next steps, I'm also interested in seeing the different status update against each of these invoices. So I can see that there's integration error in a few of them. There's invoice that have not been worked upon, and I'd like to see this from an angle of a particular accountant. So I can see that for David, there are some 25 invoices in which there are some invoices that have some errors and some of them have been successfully integrated. There are 3 such invoices that have integration error, due to which he has not been able to proceed ahead with the next steps. And I can also see that there are certain invoices that have been worked upon. The invoice matching has been done, but the payment has not yet been made to the supplier. So that's a good time for me to speak with the accountant and understand if they have any concerns or any assistance they need from my side. So at this stage, we've completed the invoice matching process. However, for many businesses, it is also crucial to access all their supplier invoices in a single tool, regardless of the invoice's origin. CIP can be integrated with Compleo Archiver, where invoices are stored in a secured and safe environment, making them readily available for compliance purposes in the future. So I've logged on to Compleo Archiver, and there are different filters made available to you. I'm going to use the archiving date functionality and look for the different invoices that are securely saved. When I click on the button that's adjacent, I should be able to see the terms and conditions page that I received along with the supplier invoice. And most importantly, I can also see the detailed invoice report. I can see the detailed communication that has happened between multiple people within the organization. And I can also see the detailed audit trail, who has worked on which invoice at what time. So all of that is made available to you. It gets stored along with the invoice in a safe and secured environment in your ERP as well. Janine?
Thanks, Mihir. Wow. So that was quite an informative demo. Thanks for your time. I had plenty of questions and things just running around in my brain, but I didn't want to stop your flow. So yeah, very impressed with the online real-time data with the synchronization between Complo Invoice platform and the SAP S/4HANA ERP. That was amazing. And the fact that you have that visibility across all the steps, all the stages of that invoice processing is incredible. So it really takes your data and your AP departments to the next level with greater control across board. So thanks for that, Mihir. So there's another poll for everybody to please participate in. This is going to be, what is your main concern when integrating automated AP solutions with your SAP system? Now, I know this is going to be quite a popular question to answer. So we have 5 options available. First one is data security and privacy during automation processes. Number 2 is compatibility with current SAP system configuration. The next is cost of implementation and maintenance of automated solutions. User adoption and training requirements for new systems. Scalability of the solution with growing business needs. So Ellie, if you could please launch that poll for us now. Remember, you can only select one option. And I think, Mihir, this is going to be quite an interesting poll to perform, because we know that we are in the UKR SUG running this webinar. And although there's a lot of AP members, AP managers and heads of department that are watching this webinar today, I know that there are a lot of SAP consultants on as well. So yeah, it would be great to see their answers that come up. We'll just wait for those results. When Ellie sees them coming through, I'm sure she'll let us know where that poll is sitting.
So currently 35% compatibility with current SAP system configuration.
Yeah.
29% of cost of implementation as well. They're the top 2.
Okay, so the 35% was the highest. Compatibility with current SAP system configuration. That's not surprising. I'm sure everybody can agree that when you are integrating into your SAP systems, you can often be met with many challenges. But as Mihir has addressed, and he will continue throughout this webinar to let you know how the Complo Invoice platform can be integrated into your SAP system. So, Mihir, back over to you. Can you please enlighten us with some more?
Thank you so much, Janine. Thank you, Ellie, for running the poll. Now that you've seen the demo, let's talk about some of the technological benefits and also the business benefits of Complo Invoice platform, and explore how it can be valuable for the different AP and IT teams. So artificial intelligence is something that's deeply ingrained into our solution. And as you can see on my screen, we use various branches of AI, such as machine learning, natural language processing, and robotic process automation to enhance the performance of the Complo Invoice platform. And in my next slide, I'll go into more detail about how we're using these technologies. Alongside our machine learning capabilities, we've partnered with Microsoft Azure Form Recognizer, and this powerful partnership helps us in analyzing various documents and extracting key details such as supplier information, total amounts, and bank account details with a very high accuracy score from any kind of documents. We also recognize that as your business evolves, as it grows, we will onboard new suppliers submitting documents in various formats. And thanks to our deep learning powered training capabilities, our system quickly adapts, learns from the past data to automatically recognize new document types without the need for actually retraining the software. And lastly, reflecting on my earlier point, we've crafted decision-making patterns that help prevent duplicate payments, promptly identify discrepancies in invoice fields, and save your team's valuable time and reduce all the various administrative burdens. Plus, if there are additional rules that you need to configure as part of your business process, integrating them into the Complo Invoice platform is a breeze. Let me now guide you through some of the business benefits of the Complo Invoice platform and explain why it's important to adopt a smart automated tool for your AP process. Starting off with great visibility, CIP sets itself apart from standalone systems by syncing data and documents with your SAP instantly. As I demonstrated earlier, having a single interface for a holistic real-time view of your invoice processing workflow is quite important. And using various filters on CIP, AP teams can gain better performance insights, leading them to basically facilitate exception handling, and they'll basically get cleaner and efficient reporting at the end of the day. This is especially valuable for accountants reviewing their own progress and for C-suite who need immediate insights into particular invoices like those coming in from a specific supplier. Faster and more accurate invoice processing is key, and with CIP, AP teams can easily handle higher volume of invoices quickly and with greater accuracy. By automating invoicing workflows and streamlining the three-way matching process, we eliminate latency, prevent erroneous data entries, and ensure seamless data integration into the SAP S/4HANA system. And as I mentioned in my last slide, the smart data extraction powered by Microsoft Azure AI ensures that your team won't have to deal with duplicate invoices or discrepancies. Enhanced internal control and verification. Using CIP, AP teams can effortlessly verify the supplier invoice data against the SAP vendor master record. The platform immediately highlights discrepancies such as changes in banking details, adding a layer of security. This vigilant confirmation ensures payments go to the correct supplier accounts, protecting you from any potential fraud. Plus, a comprehensive audit trail means protocols are followed meticulously. You gain access to a detailed activity log for complete traceability, showing who performed each task, including any overrides or modifications to the original information. Seamless integration and scalability are essential as your business grows, whether it's through new subsidiaries or branching out into new geographies. An increase in supplier invoice documents is expected during such expansions, and that's where an AP tool like CIP becomes invaluable. It scales efficiently and accommodates different workflows, integrating seamlessly with SAP B1, S/4HANA, and other business systems to prevent the loss of valuable business hours. As a certified SAP partner, Simtrax has created plug-and-play connectors or BAPIs that enable us to communicate with various SAP versions without the need for extensive ABAP coding. I can't stress enough the importance for interdepartmental communication for processing invoices. Many of you would agree that traditional methods like chat or email can sometimes lead to lost information and confusion among team members. CIP's integrated communication tool enables AP users to quickly secure approvals from their managers or seek clarifications from buyers directly within the platform. And this centralization of communication not only saves time, but also streamlines problem solving, keeping all the relevant information easily accessible in one place. Legal archiving of documents is again very crucial. Once an invoice status is classified, it's important to store the supplier invoice, any attachments, and the complete audit trail in a single tool, no matter where the invoice originated from. CIP seamlessly integrates with Complio Archiver, ensuring that invoices are securely archived and readily available for future compliance purposes. Additionally, workflows can be established for direct access to these documents on SAP DMS, SAP Cloud Platform, and any other platforms if need be. So in summary, what I've shared today scratches the surface of the many benefits our platform offers. The goal was to show you how our advanced SaaS platform can not only help you establish better controls, but also provide access to cleaner data, which is important for informed decision making. We strongly believe this approach will enable your organization to save significantly on resources and cut down on manual repetitive tasks, all while integrating data seamlessly into your SAP ERP. Now I'd like to hand over to Janine, who will ask you some questions and share more about Simtrax and our company profile. Over to you, Janine.
Yes, me again with all the questions. Okay, so we have a question for the audience. We are going to do it in a full poll format, but it's a slightly longer question and you can type your answers in. What information would you like to see in an AP invoice processing dashboard? So Simtrax is constantly innovating with its solutions, and a Complio invoice platform was developed in collaboration with accountants and accounts payable head of departments, so that we can get the idea and understanding of what it is the users want in a solution. So the next step would be to ask this question and then start to put together a dashboard that precedes CIP. So that's the question out to you. Please could you answer slightly lengthier question for you to type out. Thank you. I think there will be quite a few answers, but I'm not sure that we're going to be able to give you any indication of what these are at the moment. And we will be able to receive them after the webinar. Is that correct, Ellie?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So
we've had a couple of people answer so far, so we'll be able to see them after the webinar.
Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to just let you know a little bit more about who it is Simtrax is and who's been presenting today. So, yeah, about Simtrax. So for over 30 years, Simtrax has helped craft, tailor, and seamlessly integrate customer-specific, platform-independent software solutions along with cloud-based automated document interchanges. We have associated with over 3,500 customers across various industries and can meet the needs of all industries. Simtrax has 8 offices globally, and due to the strategic positioning of these offices, we can provide 24-hour support to our customers. On average, we have 12 years of customer loyalty. And it's good to note that Simtrax has technology partnerships with SAP, Microsoft, and IBM. Simtrax is an SAP Silver partner. Okay, so let's just find out a little bit more about our expertise. We offer a digital business platform that seamlessly connects with all your existing systems, whether on-premise, cloud, or SaaS-based. We specialize in 4 categories: enterprise e-invoicing. So you can automate e-invoicing with secure integration in multiple countries. Signature solutions, customize and automate digital and electronic signature solutions for your entire enterprise. EDI-ready process automation. You can experience secure data exchanges between trading partners with API. Digital data and document transformation. You can enhance and automate your business processes. Okay, so let's have a look at some of our customers. This is the customer slide. There are many more, so this is just an example, and they trust us, have been with us for quite some time now, and we hope to have some interesting discussions with you after the webinar. So I think that's all I have to say, Mahir. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Janine, for the company overview. Before we proceed to the Q&A session, here are my contact details. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If you're interested in learning more about what we offer, I'll be more than happy to discuss your needs and set up a tailored demo for you and your team. So finally, it's time to drop in with any questions you may have regarding the demo or the presentation. And me and Florian would be more than happy to answer them for you.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Mahir. I know we are quite short on time, but we'll try and answer as many questions as we can. So send those questions through and we will address them for you. Okay. Just going to have a look, see what's come through. Okay, Mahir. Here's one question. Does the solution handle non-PO invoices as well? I think you did address that in the demo, but yeah, please go ahead and answer that.
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you, Janine. So yes, CIP is fully equipped to manage non-PO invoices and invoices with multiple purchase orders as well. And should you come across a non-PO invoice, you can simply select it on our platform and it will be added to the workflow. CIP very conveniently retains the general ledger and tax codes for each supplier, which means that these details are automatically pre-selected for you. And this basically eases your entire process, allowing you to jump straight into the multi-way matching process. So yes, to answer that question, yes, we can cover all the different scenarios, including non-PO invoices as well.
Okay. What is the average implementation time for your platform? So what is the average implementation time for your platform?
That's again a very nice question. So regarding the implementation time, Complete Invoice Platform or CIP, as you now know, that is a SaaS tool that's ready to deploy immediately, bypassing the need for any AI training of any invoices. Thanks to our ready to use SAP connectors, there's no development effort required. The API calls and protocols are already integrated with CIP. We just have to configure the interface and parameters to match your specific ERP requirements, and we're done. So it's as easy as that. So being a SaaS tool, we'd be able to deploy it in a very quick timeline.
Okay, so there are 3 more questions. One actually came in from, okay, it's an anonymous attendee. Will you be sharing the recording? I see that Ellie did answer that via on the Q&A. But just to let you know that if you have dropped your email address when you registered, I will be sending out a follow-up email with the recording, and Ellie has confirmed that the recording will be available on the webinar booking page later on today. So you can, see the recording both ways. So yes, there is 2 more questions. Is it possible to configure hard stops in the event of a discrepancy within the system? Discrepancy? I'm thinking they might mean within data from the invoice.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. So to answer to that question, yes, we can configure hard stops in the system. Depending on the nature of the discrepancy, there could be a scenario wherein there are details such as postcode or there are address mismatches. In those scenarios, we might set up a workflow to just alert the user, but allow the process to continue. However, if the discrepancy involves critical information like bank account details, we can configure the workflow to halt the entire process entirely. ensuring that there's no faulty payments made. So yes, we can configure all sorts of configurations as per your requirement, including a hard stop.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mahir. We had another question that came through from one of the attendees. That you have answered by typing through, and you've asked for clarification on the question. Can I read that out live? Will everybody be happy for me to read that live? Okay, so the question is, we use SAP for HANA. Does the booking in still happen within SAP, or does the solution complete this and integrate with SAP afterwards? Florian just asked clarification. He said, do you mean booking on material in the SAP system?
Yes, I would like precision, but for now, everything is still done in the SAP system. We are able to discuss with the SAP system, but for now, we take the decision to not interfere with SAP inside processes. Here, there is a lot of code behind this in the SAP system, so we don't want to touch this. It means this kind of work is still done by accountant or other person on your society, and it is still done in the SAP system. We only retrieve statuses and flags and the data which move forward in the SAP system. We retrieve it and we send it to CIP platform to have the information, to display the information, but we don't want to do any modification in the SAP system.
Okay. I hope that's answered the question and that we understood it correctly. If it hasn't, please reach out on the webinar. Also, you could contact UKR SUG. Ellie will also put forward our information, and we will answer that in more detail for you. Okay. There aren't any further questions, so yeah, just waited a few more minutes, but nothing else has come through. Hold on a second. So Emma, sorry, so the lady Emma that asked the question, she said, yes, that was correct. She was asking that, and thanks very much for the answer. Okay, so it seems that we answered that question. Understood it and answered it correctly. Okie doke. So I don't see that there are any more questions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand back over to Mahir. I'm Janine Stapleton, and it's been a pleasure presenting this webinar to you today. Mahir.
Thanks a lot again to everyone for joining, and I hope you find the session informative. I'll also hand over to Ellie for final remarks.
Thank you, Mahir. Thank you, Janine and Florian. I hope you'll find that really insightful. And as I said, there is a very short survey at the end of the webinar, just 2 questions, and all the recording, like I said, will be available on the webinar booking page later on today, hopefully. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.